We are going to give it a few minutes, and then we will begin. I want to let people come on. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Friday. Mine's been a little interesting. So we're just going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we're going to let people join. Keep in mind, if you can look on the screen real quick, if anybody would like to leave a comment on the live stream, they are going to have to make sure that you leave your name in the comment section, either before or after the comment, so I can react and address you. I'm using different software, not directly on YouTube. And that way I will be able to react to the comment and directly to the person. And there is a bit of a delay, and but we should be able to get through it okay. So we're going to wait a couple of more minutes, and then we're going to begin. In the meantime, we're going to do this. This is a new, I'm doing an ad campaign before we begin. I'm doing an ad campaign. We previewed it on YouTube a little bit ago, and I just want to play it before we begin the show. We're going to let a couple of people come on here. I'm going to play this video for everyone, and then there will be an explanation to the video here in the program. But sit back and just take a look at it if you haven't seen it already. Throughout our history, there have been moments where people had to stand up for what's right. People from all walks of life standing together to answer a call for one common cause. Today, another call must be answered. A call to help the missing. A call to stand with the families. Guardians that will help turn these families' cries for help into loud, roaring voices. Voices of change. We need guardians to join our ranks to support these families, lift them up, be one loud voice, a voice for change, a voice for the voiceless. Are you ready? So that is our Grimm Guardian initiative, and I'm going to explain that here in a minute. Now that we've got some people on there, we're going to go ahead and get this show on the road, and we'll begin explaining everything. So again, so you know, I am guinea pigging this thing right now because this is brand new software, and I just wanted to see how well it worked. And so far, so good. So let's get into it. Let's go. All information in this program is known to be accurate at the time of recording. Any commentary by the host is for discussion purposes only. Anyone labeled a person of interest by the host or family has not been charged with a crime. All suspects charged with crimes related or unrelated to a case covered are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Opinions and views expressed by the host do not represent views of the families or sponsors of this program. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Weekly Remind Live Edition. I'm glad everybody... hi, Chase. How's it going, buddy? Hello to everyone. This is something I wanted to try out, guinea pig, unscripted, like I like to do, the Weekly Remind. Now, here's what happened. Unfortunately, the software that I use to talk about cases, program, and put the videos up was not compatible with this. So I am going to touch on the David McAllister case. The audio did not work with this program. And Marilyn, please forgive me, and I thank you for tuning in and watching. We are going to talk about David McAllister's case, because he is the case remind of the week. And again, this is all again guinea pigging this software, and we will get it squared away. So again, thank you for everybody tuning in, and we're going to begin. So at the top, we showed the video of our what I call the Grimm Guardian Initiative. And this is an initiative that I have been brainstorming on quite a bit, just for the simple fact is that volunteers are helpful. We have grown so fast in a short amount of time that it's critical to have the use of volunteers. And we have had several people join our crew and have been outstanding volunteers. They've been very helpful, and I'm very excited that we have them joining us. But I'd like to have some more. And helping the missing is the most important thing that's in my life right now, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. And we could use some help. So the Grimm Guardian Initiative is for those who would like to volunteer, and a couple of hours of your week. We're not asked, any time that you can donate to helping us tell the stories of the missing, research, and the like. We would love to have you. So that's the Grimm Guardian Initiative, and we were going to be unraveling it here slowly. But that's kind of, we're going to run the ad campaign for a while. If you have any interest at all in volunteering some of your time, you can email me at stevestone@thegrimtruth.com. You can always reach me on Facebook Messenger. And we'll definitely reach out to you and talk, and make sure that we get together. Because again, volunteers are awesome, and we need as much help as we can telling these stories. There's a lot of stories out there, a lot of people needing help, and that's the most important thing. So I want to thank everybody for that. Why am I doing live here today? Again, I wanted to try out some new software. It is, I wasn't really, I want to connect with you guys in a better way. And I think that I want to connect better. And I've always thought about maybe doing a radio program at some point. Now it's just not the time, because there's just too much going on. If you see me spacing out, I'm reading the comments. I'm trying to thank you, Marilyn. I'd love to have you. I would appreciate you. We will definitely be talking. I would love to have you in and helping us out. I do like this format, by the way. I'm getting sidetracked, but I do like the format. I like how this particular app is used. I'm not actually on YouTube. I'm using the app through YouTube, and it's helped me out. But I want to connect with the people, because I see all the posts that you guys respond to. I see the comments that are put on there, and I want to do a better job of communicating with you. And the best way we can reach people is actually communicating. And sometimes comments and posts can be misconstrued or not understood well. And I think it's always best to do it in a way that you guys can hear it right from the horse's mouth. And I if you've been following me long enough, I don't shy away from any. If it's the truth's got to come out, the truth's got to come out, and I don't shy away from it. But I think communicating is key, and doing it in different ways. And I wanted to try it this way. So we had a couple things fall through today. I wanted to speak with the gentleman from Premier Search and Rescue. We just did not connect. It's not his fault. And we are going to do that at a later date. The most important thing for me right now is to take questions and talk about the cases that we've profiled, i.e. this week's two cases, Teresa Davidson Murphy and Michael Gage Johnson. All these cases are in my head. Thank you, Terry. And we again, just give me email and we will connect. Just been really busy, and we'd love to have you on the team, and anything that we can do to get to help these families. I want to do it, and I think volunteering is a great way to help these families. But so we covered these two cases, and let's just talk about Teresa Davison Murphy's case for a minute. Her case is, in effect, difficult because there is a violent aspect, not just with Teresa, but we found during our research, we found that other people at the hand of Richard Murphy, and again, he's not been charged with a crime, innocent until proven guilty, but we have been told by several sources that there was abuse going on. The problem with her case is not a lot of people are willing to go on the record. Not a lot of people are willing to come forward, and it does hinder an investigation. The other thing is, in my opinion, at the time, I don't think this case was investigated properly. Detective Clark has admitted this is a cold case, and I don't like that term. But if a case is cold, why are we not pressing the reset button on these cases and starting from scratch? Evidence is gone. Memories have faded, but there's always a way to restart a case. Take whatever information you have and work off of that. I don't see why that's something that cannot be done, and I think it should be done. Teresa has a mother who is 20 years agonizing, looking for her daughter. And then you have Teresa's daughter who has agonizingly searched for her mother, and she's not giving up. I can tell you that right now. She's committed, wonderful to work with. I want to thank Jessica from the bottom of my heart. She's awesome to work with, and we're going to continue working until we get that case solved. With Michael Gage Johnson's case, there has been a lot of people involved, a lot of moving parts. And I want to reiterate, as I say all the time, I say it in the podcast, I'm going to say it right now. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's not what the person did, it's who the person is. And everybody deserves to be found. Everybody deserves to be loved, cared for, and no one is disposable. No one should be thrown away. And when we cover these people and their stories, I always tell the families that I don't care what your loved one did. I just care that we find them, to get the information out there, to make sure that not only we show that we care, to get other people to care. And I can tell you, the following that we have on the Facebook page, and the people that listen to the podcast, the people that are doing this, they care too. And in Gage's case, Gage was battling some demons. Who does not have is without sin? No one. He's got his battles, but that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be found. It doesn't mean that someone can take it upon themselves to get rid of somebody or make them disappear. And the problem I've had with Gage's case from the get-go is so many people involved. And then while a mother is searching for her son, people are doing whatever they can to monkey up the works, whether it's taking down flyers or calling the search and rescue team, and whether on Messenger and saying, "Oh, he's found, nothing to see here. You guys can go back home." That's malarkey. That's BS, and it shouldn't be tolerated. And so I believe in my heart of hearts, there's somebody close in Gage's circle that knows what happened to him. And it seems like law enforcement's engaged, and that's what we always try to work for in these cases. And since there's already, it seems to be that in place, we don't want to mess that up. So we're going to follow the case. We are going to work with Lisa. If there's anything that we can do to help Lisa, then and we will. It's very important. And like I said, we will continue to do that. I just want to post this up here, Marilyn McAllister, who is watching. Everyone is important to someone, no matter their past or their battles. We need to find them. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. We need to make sure that I know that is a banner that I proudly wave, that everybody, does not matter color, creed, religion, what side of the railroad tracks you're from. We need you, and we need to find them. And so these cases all have that in common. And it's about our humanity, basically. It just boils down to humanity. What is acceptable? I can tell you what's not acceptable. What's not acceptable is the following: not looking for a missing person, no matter their station. Leaving a case, not knowing who's been interviewed, who's not been interviewed. I mean, at the end of the day, and this is where I get on my soapbox. At the end of the day, if you have a missing persons case, whether it's 4 days, 4 years, 40 years, and there's not a trail of who's been interviewed, when they were interviewed, whether a search was done, whether a search hasn't been done, you need to pass the case off then, because you're not giving it its due diligence. You don't care. And that's sad. And I'm not saying, and I'm not going to bash law enforcement at all. That's not what I want to, that's not what I want to do. It's about caring. And there's all these stigmas with the missing that we don't care because they're a criminal. Oh, they have mental health issues. Oh, they're on drugs. They're adults. They can go missing. BS. It's BS. Let's take the most simple cases. This is simple cases. Okay. Let's talk about David McAllister. David McAllister is a free-spirited individual. He loved to go for walks. He just loved life, right? And a mother, I've said this before too, and I use this analogy all the time. A mother knows more than anybody. I think a mother's knowledge of a child trumps even the most seasoned law enforcement professional. And I think at the end of the day, a cop should listen to a mother's instinct. I could tell you right now, and my mother could attest to this if she was watching right now, I would have a hangover 1,500 miles away, and my mother would call me up and go, "What'd you do last night?" And that would be that she would know. A mother knows. Not listening to a mother is, I think, is doing a disservice not only to the family, but to the person missing and to the case itself. So let's see what's going on real quick. I would love to know what's going on in Kaya Taylor's case. So hold on, I'll get back to that one in a second. So Kaya Taylor, I have spoken to Hope a couple of weeks back when we were doing the second episode. Kaya's case is being looked into. There are things that we can't discuss because it may impact the integrity of the investigation. But I can tell you right now, Hope Taylor is not giving up on Kaya. We are not giving up on Kaya, and that family is on point. It's being investigated. They are working the leads, and I can't say any more about that because I promised them that we wouldn't divulge what was happening. But make no mistake, hashtag TikTok on Kaya Taylor's case. That's all I have to say. Hashtag hashtag TikTok on Tyler. I'm reading some of these. And another comment here from Maryland. Dave McAllister was amazing. He would never walk away without saying goodbye to me. And that was what we were going to get into in the case Remind with David. And Marilyn can attest to this. She's watching right now. David always let his mom know what was going on, even if it wasn't something that Marilyn might not have wanted to know. They had that relationship. And that relationship was key. It was key um, to their how do I say this? It was just the bond that they had, that he shared things, even if it was TMI, he shared it. So the injustice in this case for Dave is the fact that they're not understanding that the mother's love one and the relationship they have. They're not really doing a service to Maryland. And I think we need to step that up. And we are going to be doing a video campaign next week on David McAllister's case, talking directly to law enforcement. I will say it right now. They need to step it up. If you're not going to investigate a case, you need to pass it off. Pure and simple. And you know what? Fresh eyes aren't bad in a case. You know, it's not going to hurt if you have a missing persons case and you're at a standstill. I don't know what to do with the case. I don't know what to do with the case. Pass it off. Give it to somebody. Fresh eyes, open mind, open heart, work it. Now, again, unfortunately, in a real world, that doesn't happen. And that's what we have to change. That's what my initiative that I'm trying to start is going to change. The more people that you imagine how many voices. I mean, we have a couple of people watching, and I'm ecstatic for that, and I'm happy, and I'm content with that, because this isn't going to happen overnight. This is going to grow, but we need more people, the ones that are out there watching right now, to tell your friends. This is a great cause. I think this is the most loving and most giving cause that I could have been a part of, because even if you're giving somebody hope, what's wrong with that, right? Hope is armor. Giving a family hope, what's wrong with that? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that we need more people to jump on our train, join us in helping with that hope, delivering hope to these people. Another case that if we want to discuss it, that we have a detective that's not following leads, we can talk about Matthew Vetrommel. Matthew Vetrommel case, another case that leads are not being followed. You're just kind of if the common sense train kind of hits a stop when you have a person like Matthew Vetrommel who requires money to survive. Like most of us, we require money to survive. He has a person that controls that part of his life. That's the relationship. That's how it worked. His sister controlled the money. And when somebody has money and they're not spending it, they're not asking for it, then that's a problem. Then listen, I don't know about the rest of you, but if I wanted to just go and take a sabbatical and say, man, I'm leaving, I'm out of here, I would need some kind of financial support to get from point A to point B. This whole theory about people hitchhiking or people just up and leaving, does it happen? Yes, it happens. It's rare. And in Matthew's case, that is not what happened. And they need to look at the people that had his belongings. They need to look at the people that last spoke with him, and they need to follow the trail. Having had a missing now found son, a step granddaughter missing, as well as a cousin missing, and being profiled by you, people don't go missing without a trace, but sadly others inject BS tips. Terry Burton. Very true. That is very true. We're having that issue with Gage's case, the one we just did the podcast on. If you haven't, please listen to it. We get often, and the funny thing about these cases, and I'll discuss Andrew DeWeese in a minute, because and I just want to put that back up there. Terry Burton, having had a missing now found son, and God bless, I'm glad, step granddaughter missing, as well as a cousin missing. sadly, people interject BS tips. You know what the problem with that is that the BS tips that are being interjected, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. That means someone has got their hand in the cookie jar, and they're doing whatever they can to derail any investigatory goings on. Marilyn McAllister, yes, we do. We need help. Help find our loved ones. We need everyone to help share flyers, share information. Yes, ma'am. I agree. Volunteers. That's why we need volunteers. If we look at, and we're talking about red flags. So Engage's case again that we profiled here on the podcast that's out today. There are a lot of people are calling in, tearing down his flyers, calling in and saying, "Hey, he's okay. He's just hiding out." Total BS. Total BS. In Andrew DeWeese's case, I spent 5 months on that case, and now we have a detective, a great man by the name of Agent Seth Rice. He is committed to the cause of bringing justice to Andrew and his family. But in the beginning, we were getting these really shameful stories about stuff that just didn't happen, and it was just to throw you off. Now, I wasn't brought on. I was brought on to find out what happened and to bring attention to his case. But as the wheels kept turning, as the weeks kept going, as the interviews, we kept piling up interviews, I realized that I was being fed lies and innuendo to throw me off what actually happened. And luckily, by the grace of God, we were able to sift through all that white noise, and we were able to come up with a theory that based on evidence and fact and several witnesses, and now that case is being worked on, and I can't be happier. And I am grateful for Seth taking on the case, and we're going to let him work it. And I told him that yesterday. Yeah, Chase Stone. That is my son, Marilyn. I guess he's watching Daddy's YouTube, and he's a good boy. We love him. He should be going to bed though. So BS cases, but then, so I guess we have two kinds of cases when you think about it. If we're looking at these cases, wow, I can't believe we've already almost been a half an hour on this deal. By the way, let me know if you like this format that we're doing with the scroll and we're able to show comments. If you like it, just a thumbs up, or because I do want your feedback on it. I personally like it. I think it's working. I like this. I think this is something we're gonna use. Terry says she loves the format. Good, awesome. So the two kinds of cases that we have are the cases where it's very much investigated. It's something that can be investigated. It's definitely a case that can be worked and solved, and then you get the tips, the BS tips, and then you've got the case where no one's listening, not being covered, and you get the I just lost my train of thought. They're not being covered by the police. They're not being covered by the media. They're not being worked. And then, but there's a bunch of people lying in wait that have a multitude of theories about what happened. 90% of it's probably fodder, and the other portion of it is probably that can be followed. And that's what happened in Andrew's case. So you have Andrew's case. You have a lot of fodder not being followed. I would say, and Marilyn, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got David McAllister's case where there's leads, but they're not being followed, and nothing's being done that could maybe shake the case up. Like it's allowed to go cold. Is basically what I'm saying, and I think that that's something that has to change. It has to change now. It has to change right now. And Christopher Sanders, I want to bring this up because this was something that it was heartbreaking when I interviewed Captain Quintana of Monahans PD. Christopher Sanders, as you know, he's been missing for 4 years out of Monahans, Texas, and his case is not even being worked. The captain didn't know who'd been interviewed, didn't know if a people search had been done, ground search. He called it a people search. Thank you, Marilyn. Yep. So Marilyn is responding that my summation of the case is correct, and so, but anyway, so Chris Sanders was missing, and Captain Quintana says, I don't know. I asked him about Cody, for example. Cody Penny is Christopher Sanders' cousin. They work together, live together. Was the last person to talk to Chris Sanders when he went missing. Not interviewed. And I don't understand why no one would interview the person who last spoke to Chris. When I say he wasn't interviewed, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this so I don't have to make a correction. He was spoken to about what happened. He gave his version of what happened, but that was it. There was no detailed discussion about what happened to Chris and the phone call, length of the phone call, none of that. And so Monahans PD has not been investigating Chris's case. It's been 4 years. It's heartbreaking, and someone needs to step up. So what we've done this week in our Act Now campaign is to shake up cases that don't have these that don't have the manpower being utilized properly, that don't have any leads. The cases are being stagnant, because I do not like the word cold. These cases are stagnant, and something has to happen. So we've done videos on Christopher Sanders. We did a video on Will Polk and April Jones, only because that case, it's been found that those poor individuals were murdered, and now that we're in the justice seeking phase of the case, there's others that have not been charged, and I think that is a crime in and of itself. Anybody that had anything to do with murdering two people, whether you knew about it, whether you facilitated it, whether you aided in the carrying of it out, you deserve to be charged with that. And at this point, I believe there were 3 or 4 people that have not been charged in that case. So that needs to change. And then we also did a video on Ira Briscoe and Lyman Little, West Plains, Missouri. And there's been not a lot of nothing going on in that case. And Marilyn Briscoe and I have had conversations. I've been in talks with the family all week, and I did a video for them too, pleading with the sheriff's office there to let EquuSearch, I've been saying EquuSearch too, and it's EquuSearch, let EquuSearch come down there and search with permission and cooperation with the Howell County Sheriff's Office. And I think that we're close. We're really close to that. From what I gathered, the detective on the case had agreed. So we're making headway there. And so I hope that we can at least make that step forward and get that going. Again, when we start getting momentum on a case, I think what has to be understood is that this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. That's another thing I say all the time, and we have to make sure that if we have law enforcement acting on cases, that's what we want. And leads aren't going to just poof out of the sky, but if they're working, then that's what we want. If they're not working, then that's when we call them out, and that's what I will do, and I don't have a problem doing that. Again, it's not bashing the police, but it is it's just making sure that they do what they need to do, and that's at the end of the day, that's what the missing need. They need people to care, right? Compassion is not something that it doesn't cost you anything. And I think the bedside manner, and for I guess that's what I'm gonna call bedside manner. Law enforcement has a terrible bedside manner when it comes to the missing, when it comes to talking with the family. And I think that is something that needs to change. Um, and we need to make sure that we can do what we can do to help change that. I'm just reading the comments. Please bear with me. Okay. So, as promised, our case remind this week is David McAllister, and I want to put something up here if I can. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. Okay, there it goes. So this is a flyer of David McAllister, and again, a young man who I guess, and Marilyn can attest to this, just kind of marched to the beat of a different drummer, but that didn't make him a bad guy. If you enjoy life, you have a zest for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And he had a close a kid that has a close relationship with their parent is not going to just disappear and not say nothing to his mother. And again, I go back to it. Dave did talk to his mom quite often. He told her things that she didn't want to hear half the time, and or it was like too much information, right? And we talked about this week when I had her on the phone, and and that's the kind of person he was. But he doesn't just go missing. He doesn't just vanish into thin air. People don't disappear without help. Now there are times, and I'm not talking about these times. There are times when someone goes for a walk, an elderly person goes for a walk, gets lost, or I knew a best friend of mine in the military. He had a wife who went for a walk, and she hadn't been seen for weeks and weeks and weeks, and later learned that she had committed suicide, and that happens. But those cases are in the lower percentile of what we have going on in the missing community. And I think at the end of the day, where does the disconnect, I guess, from law enforcement and the families, when does that disconnect cease? When can we come together and understand that missing persons cases need to be worked immediately? They need to be treated, and I don't mean to say this because it's something that'll happen, but in my humble opinion, missing persons cases need to be worked like homicide cases. The first 48 hours are the most important. The longer you wait, the colder the trail gets. And that you do not have, listen, this is the most thing I want to get in front of right away. You do not have to wait. I'm going to say this really, get into my microphone here. You do not have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours, a week to report a person missing. There is no such animal. There's no law. There is nothing on the books that says you have to wait. If you know something is wrong, and Marilyn and I talked about this on the phone this week. I just want to pop up on another comment. Marilyn, he was one of my best friends. I missed him so much, and I love him more than life itself. He loved life and nature. Yes. Marilyn and I talked about this on our phone conversation. If you know there's something wrong with a family member, and something's not right, you should be able to report them missing immediately. Do not pass go. Just get on the phone. My significant other's missing. and you know that the cop comes by and says, well, we need to wait. He's an adult. He can go missing. No, stop that. Just stop. No more of that. Stop doing that. Jesse Conger. I'm gonna see if I can get his picture up here real quick. Jesse Conger went missing, and his girlfriend, she knew something was wrong 12 hours after not being able to see him, and she got on the horn and she said, no more. He's missing. I need your help. And they got on the case. And in his case, again, I'm gonna try to get his picture up here. Nope, not that. Jesse Conger. In Jesse Conger's case, he was experiencing some type of depression, and he was having a bad time. She knew he was having a bad time, so she called the police. This is Jesse Conger's poster that his sister had created. The girlfriend knew something was wrong. She got on the horn right away, and they started moving. Now, in his case, it's not the cops' fault that nothing's being done, because his vehicle was found on tribal land in Arizona, and they're not being very helpful with that case. So, but again, the moral of the story is you don't have to wait. You do not have to wait for a certain amount of time to go by to report somebody missing. Report them immediately. What's it going to hurt? And Marilyn can back me up on this. What is it going to hurt if Joe, your friend Joe, goes missing? And I'm just pulling that name out of thin air. If your friend Joe goes missing and you haven't seen him in 10 hours, and you know he's having a bad time, something's wrong. You know he had a fight, he had an argument. If you report him missing and they find him, is that a waste of police resources? No, because you found him. What if he was in a bad situation with some friends? What if there was some things going on and people were going to take advantage of him? How is that a waste of resources? It's not. So at the end of the day, folks, reporting somebody early and having them found early is a good thing. The missing person numbers would drop dramatically. Terry, we found my son in Mexico City, Mexico. 18 months later, my son had issues, walked away from his life. There is always hope. Yes. I mean, people have circumstances that beyond their control. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean we don't do nothing. That doesn't mean we don't look for them. Another case similar is Jacob Paddock Weeks. Jacob Paddock Weeks, a one-car accident, and he's gone. And it just seems like law enforcement's just given up. He went in the mountains. We don't know what happened to Jacob. Nobody knows what happened to Jacob but God. But does that mean we don't go looking for Jacob? We don't try everything humanly possible? George Weeks is a wonderful man. I enjoy speaking with him. I did speak with him today. I wanted to ask his permission for using Jacob's flyer in the promo we did. And George, that's a family right there that knows, what hurt, and that their family, and he's been very vocal about his pain, and I love George. I do. If you're watching, George, I love you. I think you're a wonderful human being, compassionate human being. And and I want to talk about George real quick. George's son is missing. And if George sees somebody that may be down on their luck or might need a meal, and George will do that. And that just tells you the kind of person that he is. He turns his negative situation into a positive, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that is so commendable. And I think George is a testament to family out there, all the missing that have to go through what they're going through. And a lot of the missing suffer in silence. That's the other thing. A lot of the families of the missing are suffering in silence right now. They don't get to sleep at night. Kathy Lake, no stone left unturned. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. We have to, if it's just us, fine. I don't mind. I don't mind battling. I don't mind pushing forward. I don't mind taking a case and attacking it. And it's what needs to happen. And if we get more people, just throwing out numbers, folks, we have almost 3,000 members on the Grim Truth Podcast Facebook page. Almost 3,000, right? And some of those 3,000, some of those numbers can be a little bloated because not people were mass added by or invited by friends, and so let's say that realistic number of people. And I was looking at it today, and I forgot to bring it write it down, but so we might have on average maybe 2,400 active people, consistently active, right? So let's say our number is 2,500 people in a group, and they get together with another group, let's say another group of 1,500, and there's another group of 1,500, and so on and so on and so forth. Your small little lobby becomes a big base, right? That's what we need. And that's what I'm working towards. Every day, every case I take, every group I join, every network I make with different people, we want to make the groups bigger. The bigger the group, the bigger the voice. The bigger the voice, the quicker the change. That's what I believe. That's just, and you know what? Maybe I'm naive. I don't think so, though. I really don't. And we have to get groups of like-minded people together and say enough is enough. Let's change how the missing are treated. Let's change how the families of the missing are treated. Let's get alerts out for the mentally ill. Let's get the alerts out for endangered people. Amber alerts, for crying out loud, aren't being used properly on children who need Amber alerts. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. I want to read this comment. Amazes me that others don't take advice to pressure efforts from those of us that have gone through this without success. Amen. 100% agree. I want to get back to my thought real quick on the Amber Alert issue. Human trafficking is a thing in this country, folks. It's a thing in this world. It is a thing. One of my very good friends, a confidant, who I will, who he'll remain confidential because he's my confidant. We were talking today. He was in that fight of human trafficking, and the issue of human trafficking is so real. So because that's a real thing, aren't runaways vulnerable? Runaways are vulnerable, right? I think so. I think runaways are vulnerable. If they're children, if they're 16, 17 years old, they're not mature, folks. They're not mature. I don't care. What the law says, the law does not I think somebody told me the brain really doesn't mature until like 24. And I think somebody on there knows, wink, wink, nod, nod. If you're still watching, correct me if I'm wrong. The human brain doesn't mature till 24. But that being said, if you're 16, 15, 14, and you run away, Misty, Maggie McGinn, those are great. Those are great examples. Those girls have mental health issues. Kathy Lake said yes. Thank you, Kathy. We'll get that up there. Yep, she agrees with me. Okay, and I believe that. I believe I'm right. If you're 16, 15, you're a runaway, you have mental health issues, you're vulnerable. We don't blame a elderly person, and that's another thing too. We have the silver alert. I think that's nationwide. I don't think that's specific to Florida. and I'm sorry that I don't know that. But silver alerts, I know they're here all the time, and we don't blame the elderly for having mental deficiencies, and we see those more often than we see Amber Alerts. I don't think the Amber Alert is used enough. It's not used often, and I think if we use that for every minor that is gone missing, whether they're reported runaway, troubled runaway, endangered runaway, an Amber Alert should be issued, period, point blank. That's it. No questions asked. That's got to change. It has to change. In the case of Savannah, Savannah was a missing runaway. Savannah Jane Sanderson. She was found by the grace of God, and we were fighting. She was a runaway. She'd done this before. She was in the company, folks. She was in the company of a registered sexual offender who has not been charged because of some off-the-wall law that took place in the 1800s. He lives on a Native American reservation, and I'm not that's not my beef. My beef is he's a sexual predator, offender rather, in the company of a minor. No Amber Alert issued. They did get an endangered alert on there, and I will thank the Quitman County Sheriff's Office, and I will thank Rocky Jocko for getting that taken care of and helping that greasing the wheels and getting her home. That guy's still out there, folks. He's still running the streets. He can pick anybody up he wants. Laws got to change. Marilyn McAllister, I waited 2 weeks to report David missing because he was an adult. Don't wait, file right away. Police didn't help me for over 2 months. And and I want to say, I'm going to get to the rest of these comments here too. Wow, we're going to keep going as long as people watch. We're going to keep going. In specific cases, you don't want to be an intrusive parent, right? You think, and it's really a case by case basis. But and Marilyn, I'm talking directly to you. I hope you're not. I hope you don't hold yourself responsible, or you feel. Listen, you can't. Everything's a situation, and I think that David went for walks, man. He you know what and everything is it. I don't think that maybe it would have changed things if you got on right away. I just think that the way the cops are acting now, they would have acted the same way, and that's sad, and I think that's something that has to change. Kathy Lake, we need to also push these police departments or detectives to follow up on leads and to charge all involved. Yes. Quitman County District Attorney's Office, hello. There are people running around that were aiding and abetting a murderer, and they are still walking the streets. One of them drinking in a bar yesterday. That's a fact. Listen, if I put my hand in a cookie jar at a Winn-Dixie 20 plus years ago, I was a child, and I stole a cookie. My brother knew I stole that cookie. He didn't rat me out. We were brothers. But my brother got in just as much trouble for knowing about what I did. Same thing should apply. Charge him now. Don't wait. Or guess what? The great thing about people that are getting elected, they can also get taken out of office. You vote them out. Statute of limitations are on these things. Knowledge is power. You find out what the statute of limitations are. You get enough people. You get petitions. You organize. You vote them out. You vote somebody else in that'll take up your cause, and you still charge them anyway. By God. And that's my soapbox moment. We need to bring them home. Absolutely. 100%. We need to bring them home. And we need to bring them home, and we need platforms like this. And I'll work with anybody. I implore other families, and I will tell any family that I cover. I implore other families, if you do my podcast, and you want to go to the Vanish podcast, she does a great job over there. The more your story gets out there, because some people only listen to certain things. Some people will stick to a certain they like their person they listen to. Tell your story to anyone that'll listen. Bring awareness, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to get a bunch of like-minded people that are going to agree with that this is BS, and they're going to want to help. Terry writes, be intrusive. You care. It's because of love. Don't let up. Pressure LE. Yes. Yeah. Listen, I couldn't be a cop in today's environment. Nope. Couldn't do it. There's too much politicizing of other political things that I'm not going to get into, because that's not my deal. My bag is the missing. That is my torch. That's the torch I carry. But that being said, things have to change, and you guys can agree with this or not. Real quick, before I realize Mickey's just joined us. How do you break through potential good old boy, possible corrupt law enforcement? Just as a theoretical question. It's a good question. My answer to that is you have to, in order for people to point at a problem and go, hey, look at that over there. There has to be enough, where there's smoke, there's fire. And listen, I'm not, and thank you, Mickey, for the comment. I'm not going to sit there and say that corruption doesn't exist, because it does. I've seen it. I've dealt with it in other aspects of my life. It exists. At the end of the day, though, you must wage war on a problem. When we were in law enforcement, and that you hear all the time that if there's an issue, you have to work that specific issue, and then you take on and you tackle it, right? And in order for you to take care of that, in order to get past that one thing, you have to take care of first. So when it comes to your question, Mickey, you have to raise awareness for that. And I get that people are afraid to do that. I think that there's a lot of this boogeyman, I want to say boogeyman folklore about, especially in the South, the Dixie Mafia was a big one, and they're not what they used to be anymore, honestly, and especially in the South. But you have to pick a battle and you got to fight it. If there's corruption, the only way you're going to change anything is by standing up and speaking out about it. The only way evil can prosper is if good people do nothing, right? And sadly, there aren't a lot of people that will stand up and say enough is enough. This is not right. I want to fight it. A lot of times people will just turn an eye and they go, you know what? It's not my battle. I don't want to pick it. That's why I decided when it was time to make a career move and COVID hit and I was going to be the stay-at-home parent, I picked this because I thought I could make a difference. I thought I'm a loud guy anyway. You ask anybody in my family, they'll tell you. And I was doing I was being loud about different things, and I wanted to be passionate about something that my voice would matter, that people would listen, because some of the things I was talking about just turned people off. They weren't going to listen. But now I have a voice, and I'm going to try to make people listen. And so I don't like to hear the sound of my own voice. And honestly, I'll tell you, every time I do one of these things, I get really nervous. I'll lose my train of thought. I got ADD like nobody's business. I'm sure people can notice it. But at the end of the day, you have to be a voice. Pick a soapbox, stand on it, and don't stop. Because you will get more people to join. You will get those people to say, man, that person's right. And I have not had not one person tell me when it came to the missing that we were wrong about a certain thing. Because we're not. I always say that the mainstream media, and I will say this, if it bleeds, it leads. If you are a woman in the suburbs that got carjacked, that's all over the news. It'll be all over the news 24/7, 365 until it becomes until they can't dress it up. It's not fashionable. Okay. A missing kid from southern Louisiana isn't fashionable. Uh, a hard working Texas man who worked on an oil fields who just walked away. It's not sexy. And that's what's sad, and that's why they create these podcasts or these people. This is why I started doing it, because use social media. And I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of stupid stuff on social media. My kids watch enough of it. I mean, I think it's dumb. I don't think there's a point to it. So why not use this platform for good? Use it as a weapon. Use it as a tool. I don't care if I've got 3,000 people listening to me or 4 people listening to me. We need to get the word out. And that family that's sitting there right now that has no place to look for, no place to look for their missing loved one. The cops aren't listening. The media is not interested. I can give them hope. And I'll tell you what, that is a feeling of giving somebody hope is the best paycheck I've ever had. Period. I found a man a couple of months ago, Timothy Wynn. I'm gonna get emotional here. That was an awesome experience. I want to tell you that. That was a high. I lived off that high for 2 weeks, I think, and I could find him. He was in my area. It was something I could just go down and drive to. We get all these cases. Most of my cases are in the South. I'll take a case anywhere. Alaska, Siberia, it doesn't matter. I'll profile it. I'll profile the heck out of it. But Tim's case was right within 30 minutes from me. And I can tell you that I went in looking for Tim, and God bless that man right now. I went in there. I took my oldest daughter with me, and I did not expect to go down there and think we were going to find him. It was just we were going to do it. We were going to do it because I promised that family I would. We drove down. There was a group of individuals. They might have been homeless, or they were just sitting at the park. And I just asked them, hey, man, I know that I'm not a cop. I just want to talk to you about this guy. Showed him a picture. I said, this guy's got a family and they miss him and they're worried. Have you seen him around? They just pointed me a couple blocks down the road and said, man, you might want to check down there. They didn't say they saw him. They didn't say that they knew him. They just said, check down there. So my daughter and I got back in the car. We drove down the couple of blocks, and there was this guy walking with a stick, and he had a handkerchief over his face. We were right in the middle of COVID. And I told my daughter, I said, I'm going to turn around here. I want to go talk to this guy. And I cannot tell you the butterflies, the adrenaline, there was this. It was a rush. It was a oh my God, I cannot believe I found this guy. And he had a cocky response like, who's looking? Like, I'd say, hey, have you seen this guy? And why are you looking? Or something to that effect. And he pulled his handkerchief down, and I went, the only thing that popped out of my mouth is, your sister wants to talk to you. That was the only thing that came off. And he's home. And that was the best feeling in the world. And I want that for every family. And I know that is just, that sometimes you're not going to get a happy ending like that all the time, but you can always wish for it, right? You can always attempt it. And every case I profile, that's my mission. My mission is if I can't actively go search for this person, I'm going to profile the heck out of this case. I'm going to talk about it all the time. I'm going to put their picture up. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to anybody that I can talk to. And that's what has to happen. If I can do it, that's what we do. That's the only thing that if that's the only thing I can do right now, that's what we're going to do. We are into this thing an hour and 5 minutes. I will continue to go as long as you guys want to continue to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I cannot believe we went an hour, and this wasn't a barn burner, but I'm glad that everybody was able to tune in and watch this platform. I like this platform. I think how things, and I can see that the things that I can do with it now. Like I said, this was a guinea pig deal. This was a complete experiment, and it looks pretty good. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If I'm going to say one more thing about the missing, is this: we could do better as a society. Okay, we can only control what's in front of us or what's around us, and if we can control our area, and we can get like-minded people to do the same and grow and grow our base, grow our constituency, if that makes sense, we can change things. And if the Grimm Truth Podcast Facebook page teams up with the East Miss Texas 8 or anything else and any other group, then we need to do that. Networking with missing persons organizations, whether it be the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NamUs, or Premier Search and Rescue, EquiSearch, whoever it is, we can make a difference. And the more people that watch these banterings and me lamenting on YouTube or watching the shows, listening to the podcast, you can make a difference. And maybe there's one person out there right now that knows a secret, knows something, and they're fearful. We can give them hope too. Because how many cases do you think out there right now where someone knows something and they're afraid to say it? I can think of one person right now in particular. Without that person, there's a case that wouldn't be making moves right now. And that person's a hero. That person's more of a hero than I can think of right now. I'm not a hero. I'm just a man with a voice, a man with a microphone, a man with a platform that's doing whatever I can do to bring attention to the missing. But these people that come forward, that buck fear, I said buck fear, and say, I'm going to do the right thing today, those people are heroes. And I think that we need to reach those people too, because there's plenty of cases right now, cases in the 28 cases that we've worked so far, and the 16 we have pending. There are people right now that have answers to the questions. And if I can reach out to you today, even to you, Cody Penny, deep down into your heart and your soul, pray about it. If you believe in God, ask God. Pray on it. If you don't believe in God, that's okay. Think about it. Think about if it was your relative, if it was your mom or dad. What if it was your kid? I mean, yeah, I'll use that card. What if it was a child? Wouldn't you want someone to do that for your kid? I bet you the answer is yes, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. We have to do better. We have to do more. Forget the fear, because fear is just a control mechanism that weak people use on others to keep doing bad things. What is my view on bringing in psychics? That is from Terry. I will say that I will never tell a family not to pursue an avenue that they think will bring them an answer. To a caveat to that is this: how many people, and anybody that's been involved in the missing will tell you, how many people have you come across in a missing persons case that have tried to make money off of the missing? It happens all the time. Scammers on the internet will constantly they we've got your missing person, give us $6,000 on this prepaid card, or we're gonna, and the minute you ask for proof of life, they go away. Psychics have been used in a lot of high profile cases, especially when it comes to serial killers and other cases. They've worked with profilers. I've definitely researched that. Everything has a place, and I'll just say this: if it can help find a missing person and bring them home, if it can bring answers to a family, I say whatever needs to be done. I have an open mind to just about everything when it comes to the missing, and I know that if one of my family members were missing, I would do probably anything. And having been involved in the missing, and working and talking with families, I can honestly say, I can tell you with a clear conscience that I would do anything I could to find my missing person, and I know that a lot of people do. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I kind of like this platform. It seems to work. We're going to be doing this often. We may do this every other week. I like how it's working out. It gives me a lot of everything in real time, and I think it's good. I want to thank all of you so very much for tuning in. If anybody has any other questions, because we still have quite a few people still watching. If anybody's got any more questions, I'll stay on for a couple more minutes and ask them, or answer them. I'm more than happy to do that. But I want to thank everybody. Please, and the only thing I ask is that, hold on one second. The only thing I ask is that we need to start increasing our numbers. And by doing that, telling everybody you know. And again, they don't have to listen to me gab, but we need more people. You're an inspiration. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that comment. I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to bring a voice to the voiceless. That rings true to me every day when my head hits the pillow, when I wake up in the morning, when a family contacts me or an advocate contacts me. I will do what I can to help. Anything I can do to help, I will. There are some times where cases that I'm going to work on will get kind of set off to the side. Children always come first. That's just my number one rule. Children come first, especially if it's a case that comes across my desk, or a case gets emailed to me. Hey, man, can you profile this case? 100%. I will drop what I'm doing. I will make sure we get a flyer. I have a great, wonderful volunteer who does wonderful work with my graphics designs. I could not do that without this person. I'm just saying it like it is. I have another wonderful person who has come on board and helped me with our intake and our case input, because this is my archaic way of doing things right here. This has I have several of these books with case information, and it's just old school. And we're trying to modernize and make things easier. And I have a volunteer who has come on, who has been a fantastic asset to me, along with another person that does um, our graphics and stuff. So I'm very pleased to um, have them on my team, and we need more people. I research, and again, that video that we saw on earlier, it's going to be being played throughout the week next week. And if you're interested in volunteering, email me, Steve Stone at thegrimtruth.com. That's 2 M's at thegrimtruth.com. We have a question here. Leah, have you seen the new developments on the Lloyd case? 2 of Sherry and Tank's friends arrested for wrecking and moving her car and pressing stolen property. You know, I did hear about that. So what Leah is referring to is, Leah, the first name evades me right now. Is it Jessica Lloyd? I think it's Jessica Lloyd. If you're not familiar, there are 2 cases that are connected. I'm going to leave that up there for a couple of minutes so people can see it. There are several cases that I think that are connected, and Heather Escalante, who is a wonderful human being, who is a champion. I love her. I think she, not only is she a great advocate, this wasn't something that she got into doing because she wanted to do it. Her father-in-law was missing and was found deceased in the desert. Erica Lloyd. Leah, if I'm thinking it's Erica Lloyd. So Erica Lloyd went missing in the same area as James Escalante, and the people that Leah is speaking of, Sherry and Tank. Now Sherry was supposedly James Escalante's girlfriend, and Tank was supposed to be James's friend. And now that you brought that up, good job, Leah, for that's a good question. So let me see if I can bring this up. See if I can bring it up here for you guys so you can see James. Here we go. Yep. Good job, Leah. Erica Lloyd, yes. I'm going to bring this up right now. This is going to be a picture of James. It's also going to be a picture of Sherry and Tank, Tyson Taylor. Hold on one second. I really like this this setup here. James Escalante, number 7. I'm going to get this up so you guys can see it real quick. If it's taking a little long, sorry, but I do like this setup. Normally, I just learned now that if I had this all set up, it can take overlays. So this is going to cover up my face, so bear with me. So if you look, this is James Escalante. Now, James Escalante was going out with Sherry Slover, who is the lady there in the dress that's posed behind Tank, who is Tyson Taylor. Now, these 2 individuals, Sherry was supposedly either James's girlfriend or just friend that was a girlfriend, I guess. And so, but Erica Lloyd and James went missing in the same general vicinity in the desert there, and I did not know. Yep, Keogh were arrested. I did not know that they were. What were they moving? They were arrested for wrecking and moving her car and possessing her stolen property. Leah, since you brought, I'm going to have to ask you because I don't know. Were they arrested recently for possessing their for Erica Lloyd's property? That's I did not know that. Anyway, so Heather Escalante and I have always thought, and we've talked a lot, that these cases were related. They were related to the extent that I said that maybe these guys, they're unfortunately, these people are under the influence of narcotics, mainly methamphetamine and alcohol. And these look like to me robbery homicides. And if there's a map, it almost, in my opinion, I want to make sure I say that clearly. In my opinion, it's like a killing field because there's a lot of missing person cases and a lot of people being followed in that general vicinity. And get back to the comments here. So I'm not sure if Tank and Sherry were arrested recently for wrecking and moving her car and possessing her stolen. I did not know that. I'll have to get with yes on the 8th, I believe. Okay, thank you for telling me. I'm gonna have to get with Heather. I did not know that. And of course, I've been caught up with my cases. I will get with Heather. So that is they were let out of jail on the 12th. Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. That is news. I'm definitely going to be getting. Well, you broke news here on the weekly Rewind live Q&A. I did not know that. That is something I will be speaking with Heather about. I will reach out to her Monday. I did not know that. Wow. Yeah. Hey, feel free to ask any questions. Where people are still watching. We're actually more people watching, and we'll keep going as long as you want to. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. Wow, I didn't know that. Leah, are they being questioned now in the Erica Lloyd case? Are they? I mean, if they had her stuff, now of course we'll be devil's advocate here. They could have said they came across it, while she was missing. I mean, that would probably be their defense. I would assume they would question them in Erica Lloyd's. Oh, Telsa and David arrested. Well, again, if they had possession and they were moving and wrecking that stuff, if I was the lead investigator in that case, I would want to ask them several questions. Were you responsible with Erica Lloyd? They were closely connected to Sherry and Tank. Yes, I've heard their names before. And isn't Sherry still behind bars? Wasn't she behind bars too? Or arrested for something unrelated? Wow. That is crazy. Broke news. I'm reading comments, folks. Hold on one second. I messaged her to let her know we were talking. Okay, great. Okay, so Leah, we're just going to show this because I can. She is on vacation, but I messaged her and let her know we were talking. Okay, good. I love Heather. I think she's a wonderful. She's an inspiration to families of missing persons. As an advocate, like she wasn't asked to be an advocate, but she is. All right. So I guess I'm going to run this video one more time because we ran it in the beginning, and I just want to. I'm very proud of this. Hold on a second. So I'm going to run this video real quick. This is our Grimm Guardian campaign, our initiative, where we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for people to give us a hand. We're trying to grow our family, the Grimm Truth family. We're trying to our caseload is getting larger, and we want to make sure that. Hey, Heather. Oh, hi. Hi, Heather. Lots of love. Love to you. I just found out some news. We had breaking news on my deal today. And That is so let me ask you, Heather, since you're on, um, is Sherry still incarcerated? That's my first question. I'm asking you questions. Isn't that nuts on here? Um, Sherry, was she is she still incarcerated? One, and two, are the individuals that were caught or that moved Erica Lloyd's car, are they being questioned in Erica Lloyd's case? I would love to know that, because you would think that that would be the next step. If you're moving her car or her possessions and you're destroying them, then you would definitely be. Sherry is still in custody. All right, Sherry is still in custody. Good. I mean, all suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Just want to make sure I point that out. But good, she's in custody. Awesome. Hold on. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm just reading comments. Okay. Wow. The two arrested for moving Erica's car are no longer in custody. Do you know if they've been questioned in Erica Lloyd's? Okay, you just said that. Okay, not sure if they are being questioned. Okay. Wow. Well, Heather, I can feel you right now. We're on the same wavelength. If they should be questioned, obviously. I mean, I hate to use the adage, but you've got your hand in the cookie jar. You know why? And why? I mean, they could easily make a statement that, oh yeah, we found it. I mean, they can easily say that, but it's absurd. I agree. That I'm telling you, that whole deal with uh with James, may he rest in peace, and Erica Lloyd, may she rest in peace. I think that whole thing's. I think it's connected, man. I think that, and we've talked about that before. I think that that whole thing's connected. Whether it's a robbery, homicide thing, or whether there's more there. Again, I'm speculating, and I try not to do that, but in this case, you kind of can't help it. The witness who claims to have seen Erica walking around out there is awfully, yeah, and that case is gonna. And for those of you who don't know, now that this is great, by the way, this great interaction, I'm loving it. I like, we're bringing awareness, and that's what we do. In James Escalante's case, if it hadn't been for Heather, I'm tooting your horn, Heather. Sorry, if it hadn't been for Heather is the best detective I've ever met. Period. End of discussion. And I think if it hadn't been for Heather, they'd still be grasping at straws in this case. And she is a bloodhound. And I tell you what, if I went missing, I want Heather on my case. I felt that from the beginning. If LE can't see it now, I have no words. Well, you know, we've talked about this too, and again, I'm not cop bashing. I am not doing that. If law enforcement do not like civilians, one, doing their job, two, they don't like, it rubs them in the wrong way. And if pride and arrogance get in the way of solving a crime, a missing persons case that went from being a missing persons case to a homicide, if pride and arrogance get in the way, ego, of solving a crime, then that is a crime right there. And again, that's where I said earlier in our program, if that's the case, pass it off. If it's coming too much to bear, pass it off. Thank you. I'm telling you, if I go missing, I've already told my wife, There are several people I want involved. I want Heather Escalante and Scarlett Campbell on my case. I'm telling you what, I want them on my case. Mickey, thank you, Steve, for everything. It helps to be listened to. You're welcome, and it helps for you guys to listen to me, because I'm a bloated airbag sometimes, and I'll get on a soapbox every once in a while, and especially when it comes to cases that every case I'm passionate about, whether it's David McAllister, Heather Wall, Linda Barnett, Jessica Foster, Will Polk, April Jones, Kaylee Oling, Tyquan Smith Sims, Jesse Conger, Eric Alvarado, Ira Briscoe, James Escalante, Matthew Vetromo, Chris Sanders, Jacob Weeks, Jacob Paddock Weeks, all the cases that I've ever done. I want them all to have an ending, not closure, because that is such a cliche word, but they need to have the truth. And a lot of times, and then the truth, the same goes for law enforcement. I'm sorry if I'm not going to tiptoe around the tulips if I think something is not being done properly, i.e. Matthew Vetromo's case, i.e. Christopher Sanders' case, i.e. Murphy Davidson's case, David Davidson Murphy's case, Jessica. If they're not being handled right, then I'm gonna speak up. I'm gonna say something. I don't care. Terry Burton, in my granddaughter's case, her boyfriend had made threats. If he went back to prison, he went back the day she went missing. Yeah, hello. I mean, listen. Sometimes cops have, law enforcement have blinders on when it comes to certain cases, and what it does is it hurts the case. It causes a case that can go forward to stagnate real quick, especially if they're not listening to the family. Law enforcement, please, if you're listening, listen to the families. They know more than you do. I would take a mother, a father, I would take a family member 99% of the time than a professional law enforcement officer, because the family has more when it comes to missing. Yes, Joe Smith, Jane Smith, the mother of Bill Smith, they're not trained police officers. We get that, but you're not Bill Smith's mother and father. Listen to them. Heather said, "I'm an angel." Thank you. You are. When it comes to investigating cases, man, I told you missed your mark. And I say this very humbly, and I know your husband probably says the same thing. I know for a fact that this is not what you asked to do. But at the end of the day, God, I'm getting religious here for a minute. God puts you in positions and puts people together, and they do it for a reason. And I think that, you have a day job. You're also a mother, but you're doing. I think you're doing what God wants you to do, and I think you're making a difference. You don't know yet, and sometimes the peaks and the valleys. Trust me, I had those moments this week. I can't get into them. I've had those moments where you just you think to yourself, "Am I doing the right thing?" There was a case that I will say that there was a case this week that has been taking a toll on me. And I got some evidence and some information about this case, which was immediately turned over to law enforcement. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. It affected me in a very emotional way. And I haven't been sleeping well, and that's for sure. And I talked to a friend of mine today, to get some perspective. Went for a walk, beautiful sunset, and got some perspective today. And I know I'm doing the right. I know what I'm doing is right. And sometimes it might not be the right way to go about it, I guess, but it's the way you have to go about it, because who else is going to listen? if you take all the cases that just I've covered, okay, 27, because we Timothy Wynn was found, but the 27 cases that we've covered on the Grimm Truth podcast or here on YouTube, those cases otherwise don't get coverage. They don't get any coverage. Someone has to cover them. Someone has to investigate them. Someone has to do it. And I'm telling you, I can sit here and talk for hours about the missing and give you my opinions, and you know what opinions are like. But we have to get more people together. I don't care if it takes a year, 10 years. Changes can be made as long as you have the ability to change, and you have the army to do it. The Grim Guardians video. Let's do this video real quick. I'm gonna put this video up real quick. That truly means the world to me. It becomes very overwhelming sometimes, and you have to take a break. You have to take a break. Listen, I'm gonna cue up this video, but before I say, there's a good point. I want to touch on this point while we're doing this. Even the people of the missing have to take a break, right? Families will often feel guilt-ridden, because they're taking time with other family or they're at a get-together. It's okay. My mom's number one rule: if you can't take care of you, how are you going to take care of anybody else? It's a golden rule. You have to do not feel guilty for taking a break. You have to, because there are some instances, and I had a weak moment this week where I felt that I didn't think I could do what I was doing and be all in, because again, these cases that we cover, we don't just cover them, we dig. We get in the weeds, we get in the mud, because we have to. The best way to profile a case is do it 360 degrees all around that person's life, who they talked to, what they were doing. And listen, I don't care what the individual does. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to say it now. I don't care what the individual does. It's about the individual. And in order to look for him, we have to do what the cops may not be doing. Go full circle. Who they've talked to, what was going on in their life, what kind of environment were they living in, if there was drugs involved, okay, so be it. But that might be a reason they're missing. Was there alcohol involved? How was their emotional state? Relationship? All these things matter. These are things that law enforcement should be asking. So I'm going to get to some comments, but I want to cue this video up because this is our new, it's called the Grim Guardian Initiative. I want to play this while we have people on here, and again, get your impressions on it, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Let's cue this up. Throughout our history, there have been moments where people had to stand up for what's right. People from all walks of life standing together to answer a call for one common cause. Today, another call must be answered. A call to help the missing. A call to stand with the families. Guardians that will help turn these families' cries for help into loud, roaring voices. Voices of change. We need guardians to join our ranks to support these families, lift them up, be one loud voice, a voice for change, a voice for the voiceless. Are you ready? So that's a campaign that I'm working on, that I'm rolling it out kind of early. There are some things. Grim Guardian Initiative is to get volunteers to do several things. One, volunteers to help us out, to help the Grimm Truth podcast, Grimm Media. I'm sorry, I got distracted by a comment. Let's go through some comments real quick. 100,000%, Steve. Sometimes the darkest spots in life are what bring the brightest futures. Yes, I agree. 100%. Timer team, have you ever wanted to quit YouTube? No. I just started YouTube. I wouldn't want to quit it. Missing is one of our country's biggest disaster, like floods, hurricanes. Yes, our missing are. They are. It's an epidemic. 600,000 people go missing each year. Let me rephrase. According to the government, 600,000 people go reported missing each year. Now, we can dig into those numbers, and I'll probably do that at a later date. We can dig into those numbers, but now some of those cases, those are the cases that are you're gonna hear that are gonna get they're recovered. They were found. So there's a lot of that going on, but that's a lot of people. It's an epidemic, and a part of the missing. And I'm gonna tell you this right off the bat: the missing have three things that go against them, especially the ones that we cover here on the Grim Truth. One, substance abuse. A lot of our cases, I think there might be four out of the 28 that we've covered that did not have substance abuse in them. Okay, that's a statistic. I mean, it's just, but that doesn't matter. But having there being narcotics involved, that's an issue. So one epidemic seems to be feeding another epidemic. Was my point to that it's like with between the drugs and the and other things, that these are hurdles. Mental health is a hurdle. It's a hurdle because it's a stigma. Stigmas, those are the things that we have to change too. We've got to stop the stigmas. No more stigmas. Stigmas got to stop. Mental illness, drug addiction, any substance abuse, alcohol abuse, criminal activity, it's got to stop, period. Because those are the reasons why these cases don't get looked at and they don't get solved. In the meantime, the parents, the families are sitting at home begging for help. Begging for help. So, before I forget, the Grimm Guardian initiative is an initiative that I'm starting. I was going to roll out next week, but I was working on the video today, and I was just going to roll it out. It was a good reason to roll it out. So, the Grimm Guardian initiative is this. We're asking for volunteers to join our team. And we're going to explain how that works. I'm probably going to do it next week in another video, but we're trying to get volunteers to do several things. One, maybe you can help a couple hours a week doing research on cases. That's one of it's very time consuming. I wish and I hope there comes a time where we're able to financially sustain ourselves to where we can hire a team. Right now, that's just not that's not a realistic thing right now. So volunteers is what we're looking for, and we don't want anybody coming in that can't help. If you can only do an hour a week, awesome. 2 hours a week, awesome. Everybody has a family. Family comes first, right? We all know that. But we want to try to get a team around us that will help us out doing research or intaking cases. And the other thing is, we're looking for Grimm Guardians in a spot in the United States that are going to champion our causes, where it's the missing matter, voice for the voiceless, helping us change things, letting people know what we do as a group. I don't want to be just a podcaster, and my goal is not just to be a podcaster at YouTube. I want to be an advocate. I want to investigate these cases, bring truth to them, and I want to help as many people as I can, but it's going to take an army, and that's what we're trying to do, is do that. Heather, loved the video. Thank you very much. I'm not very good at doing the editing and the stuff, but I impressed myself doing the video. I loved the imagery is always huge for me. I think that I'm trying to drive home a point that whether you want to call me an activist, an advocate, whatever, we're trying to drive home the point that if we gather and we create an army of people, like-minded people that are willing to do whatever they can do on their own time. Listen, I have 2 volunteers right now. God bless them, and they're fantastic. I couldn't do what I do without them. And we have an understanding that one, family comes first, and that they can do what they can do when they can do it. And we actually meet. We have meetings on Mondays. We have Zoom meetings, and we talk about what can be done, what can't be done, and that's it. And there's no false expectation. It's just, it is what it is. Videos, but thank you, Terry. Thank you. So that's what we're trying to do. So volunteers to help me out, because this is picking up speed. We are picking up momentum. I'm not, it's sad that there are all these cases that are coming in. That's the real part of it. It's sad. But what the good thing for me is that I'm ready to get in the weeds and fight and dig and battle for these families to get the truth that they need, and to hopefully get them answers, or hopefully put a boot in somebody's six to get them going on a case. Like we did a personal video for Ira Briscoe's case, and it looks like the horses are going to be coming down from EquiSearch and helping Ira Briscoe's family out. That's what they wanted. That's what they needed. Hi, Jolene. I didn't forget, by the way. I'll have that for you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. But we need numbers. So the Grimm Truth Initiative, or the Grimm Guardian Initiative, is one. You're going to get an awesome shirt. I'll talk about the store in a minute. You're going to get an awesome shirt, and we want you to like-minded people volunteering your time, whatever you can volunteer. And we're kind of running this like a business, and you have to. But it's sad that we have all these cases that are coming in, but I'm humbled that these families are trusting me to not only tell their story, but also trust me to take care of their loved one's story. We're being truthful, but we're also being compassionate, and we're looking for the reasons why. And a friend of mine always tells me, asking why is a lesson in futility, but you have to. You have to ask why, and if we don't ask why, then we're never going to know, right? So that's what we're doing with the Grimm Truth, or the Grimm Guardian initiative, and we're gonna have that rolling out this week as soon as I talk to my volunteers, so everybody's on the same page. Because again, we are running this like a business. We're trying to do it right, responsibly, and have some semblance of organization, because I'm here to tell you there wasn't a whole lot in the very beginning. It was kind of just from the hip, and as we go, I'm not trying to get commercial and all that nonsense, but we are trying to have it more organized. The more organized we are, the more help we can be, the more kind of sticks together, and that's what we're trying to do. And I'm all in, and I'm going to keep helping people as long as there's breath in my lungs, beating heart in my chest. I will keep doing this until someone else picks up the torch. But I'm not going anywhere, and you can count on that. And if anybody has any, if there's any other, good night, Terry. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We're going to be doing this a lot more often. We're going to be cutting it off here in a couple of minutes. Just want to say a couple more things, because I was only going to do an hour, and this was awesome. And I want to thank everybody this was very interactive. It's the most interactive thing we've done in the 6 months. We're going on month number 7 that we've been doing this. So we want to make sure that everybody know that if you have a missing person and you would like us to profile them on the podcast, you can go to the website, www.thegrimmtruth.com with 2 M's. go to our website, and you can go down to the very last link on the first part of the web page, and there you will see a link that is to Airtable. Airtable is our cloud database where we keep all of our cases. It's an intake form to fill out. Once you fill that form out, we will then we get the case. I get an email. My volunteer gets an email, and we look at it and we get going on it. We'll touch base and we'll start interviewing. The second thing is on thegrimtruth.com is we have a shop now, and we are working on trimming down some of the pricing in the store. We have a store where you can buy shirts, hats, mugs, and cell phone case. There's a nice coffee mug that is black, and then when you add hot coffee or whatever, and it shows our logo. I think it's we got some great stuff, all that stuff, and we're working on the pricing. We're going to be probably have that all squared away on Monday. All that stuff is going to help fund the podcast and fund what I'm doing here on YouTube, because again, we everything that we do is free. We don't charge anybody, and I tell families, don't go to anybody that's charging, because if they're charging you, then I think it's wrong. I don't think a family should have to pay to have their loved one profiled or have their case told on a story. And if anybody's doing that, you need to let me know, as I'll be more than happy to go ham on somebody. But what we're doing is with the shop, if anybody purchases a Grimm Truth, first of all, it's really cool stuff. Like this hat right there, we got from the store. I love it, and it's awesome. And we want people to take pictures of the gear, and so you're going to help me keep this thing running. And also, we're also donating 10% of all proceeds to charities like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and other non-for-profit organizations that do help with the missing. So again, that's thegrimtruth.com. Check out the shop. We are working on some of the pricing, and but we want everybody to check it out. And again, if you have somebody that you'd like us to profile, please go to thegrimtruth.com right there at the bottom of the web page. Click that link and start filling out the form. It's an intake form, and it helps me help you profile the case. I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. This has been amazing. Again, it's not exactly what I want to do because I didn't know what this did. I was guinea pigging this thing from the get-go. I wanted to see what it did. I am very impressed with the layout, the things that we can do, and this is probably something we're going to be doing a lot. It might be a weekly thing. This was supposed to be the weekly remind, but the stuff that I recorded wasn't compatible. So now that I know what this thing does, I'm very impressed with it, I have to say, and it's going to give us a lot more depth to doing things, where we can show videos, where we can I have to work on the placement of the flyers, because sometimes if they're not in a full flat, it'll cover up my face, and well, that might help people see my face, but I like the platform. So we're going to be doing this up. We're going to wrap this up. I want to thank hold on one second, Leah. We got a comment coming in. My primary focus is the Mojave murders, specifically James Escalante, but I would love to help where I can. Yeah, understand. Yeah, there are a lot of things out there that people need to cover, and they pique your interest, and it's something you want to cover. And I'm all for it. If there's anything I can do to help you, you let me know, and I'll be right there. Just all you gotta do is give me a call or email me. Thank you so much for everything you do for our family. Sorry it's so late. No, it's okay. Listen, if you're on vacation, Heather, you're on vacation, man. Enjoy it. It's okay. Leah, get her. Heather, you're on vacation. It's okay to be on vacation. You need it. Trust me. You were looking tired in that last video I saw you in. You were looking very tired, and You do a lot, Heather Escalante. You're a great person, and God bless you. God bless your family. We love you. You're a dear friend, and I know we had to meet on some crappy circumstances, but I love you. You're a good person, and enjoy your vacation. You're in Florida. Where? Where in Florida are you at? Because if you're in my neck of the woods, and I'd like to meet you in person. You can meet my monsters, my big family. And folks, it's okay to laugh. Let it's okay for a little levity from time to time. It because if you don't, man, I'm telling you, uh, just 7 minutes of laughter or something funny, just to break the monotony and the levity. You're in the Keys. Oh, you're way too far south for me. Enjoy it though. Enjoy it. Good for you. I'm sure it's nice and hot. Because well, you're in Carolina too, so it's hot there too. Boot camp was hot. I'm gonna tell you that. Remember boot camp? Boot camp was hot. Parris Island was hot. Red flag. I remember Black Flag days. They wouldn't let you march. It was too hot. But the Keys are beautiful. Enjoy your time there. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I love you all. Remember, I am here to be a voice for the voiceless in search of the truth. I love you guys. Again, thank you for watching. We're going to close this thing out. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow, Monday. One day, we'll see you.